week 21 of my WGU accounting degree. So this past week, today's Sunday, this past week I finished D079 Business Simulation, and then I started auditing D215. So first, the Business Simulation class. I talked a little bit about this already last update, but so for this week, I was I think the last time we left off, I had already submitted them and I was just waiting to get results back. So I got the results back on Wednesday, and the second one passed, the first one. I had one thing that they needed me to revise because I forgot to explain exactly how the bikes were manufactured. So I revised it on Wednesday, submitted it that evening, and then I got my results back on Friday that I passed, so that both tasks were like passed and I've passed that course. Now what's interesting is they tell you in the instructions that you have to do the first task first, and then once that passes, then you can submit task 2, but I submitted both of them at the same time, so it worked out fine. And also for the revising the task, I used the same tip that I did in an earlier class when I had to fix a task, where what I do is I take the feedback, what they tell you that you didn't do well, and I copy and paste that into my notes just so I have it. And then when I go to resubmit, I upload the new document, and in the comments, like there's a box to comment, I put in there resubmitting this task to address, and then whatever, the feedback they gave you that you forgot to include. And then I tell them exactly where it is. So I told them I think it was section C1. So I just put in C1 the third paragraph. So I tell them exactly where to look for it. That way it can get regraded quickly. And there's no other revisions. Because I heard sometimes people say they would resubmit the task and then get new revisions. I guess because the reviewer read everything all over again. And so just to prevent that, that's a tip I use. Tell them exactly what you fixed and where it is. Okay, so did I have any other notes? Let's see. Oh, so definitely for those tasks, use the task template. If I'd reviewed the first task template more carefully, I would have seen that they say where to go find the description for how to manufacture the bikes, the part I forgot. So definitely follow those tasks. I use task 2 template more closely, and that one had no issues. So use the task templates. You can find them in the WGU Connect resources page, or if you go to the tasks, the page with the task instructions and rubric, scroll down under the rubric, and the task templates are linked there too. But yeah, so I think that's it. The tasks were way more fun to write than some other classes. And I did have a bit of an issue with the, when you submit, you have to wait for them to score your professional communication. For some reason, it wasn't working at first when I submitted it, and Grammarly also wasn't really working that day. But that was also the day that AWS was down, so I don't know if that was related. So that's it for business simulation. So now this week I started auditing class, and I started that on, I believe, Wednesday. I started reading the units. And for this class, when you go to the class page to start it and you go to the course material, the textbook is one of those that's it's a little bit easier to navigate than some of the other accounting textbooks, but not as easy as the early accounting courses. For this one, basically follow there's a study guide in SharePoint. WGU Connect, go to the resources, and then it links to a SharePoint. So follow the study guide there. So what I did, I just took the questions and I have them in a doc, and I answer them as I go through the textbook. But follow that, and it'll tell you read this unit and then take this quiz and then take these 2 tests, because there's usually an A and B test. Take both of them because that helps you practice recalling the information that you just read. Also, the textbook, the diagrams are really helpful. There's a story scenario that continues throughout the textbook. That's also helpful to get an idea of the auditing concepts that they're talking about. And then for this one, I tried a bit of a different approach. Instead of jumping straight into the textbook, I actually went to Edspira's YouTube videos about auditing, and I watched those. He also has a website, and on his website, he's got a page with different topics. And then the auditing, if you go to that topic, the auditing has its own web page with different sections, and you can get to his videos that way. Like they both link to YouTube. Like you can either go start on YouTube and find it, or go to his webpage and find it. And I'll try to add that the link to the playlist on his webpage. But that one's pretty helpful just to give me more context about what the textbook talks about, because the topic is interesting, but the textbook uses like 4 words when it could have just had 1, and it does that often. So I like the information, but it can be hard to get through because there's just too many extra words. And so what helped with this one is getting through it so far, because I'm not done. I still have 2 units left to read. But what's helped me get through it is watching the Edspira videos first, then reading through the textbook. If I have a hard time getting through it and I need a break, I'll take a break. I might like look up something else online or watch a video or read something else. Or if I'm really close to finishing a unit, I'll tell myself like, okay, I can look at that once I get to the end of the unit. So I'll switch between that, either a break and then continue, or finish, break as a reward. Also, ChatGPT is really helpful. It helps to clarify concepts. I asked it to explain like I'm 5 often. And then I also, what we've been doing with the quiz questions is I'll take a screenshot of the question with the answers and ask it to explain, why is this the right answer and why are the other ones wrong? Because sometimes the question isn't the clearest for me. So knowing why the wrong questions are wrong is sometimes more helpful than knowing why the right question is right. But that's it. So my plan is to finish the next 2 units probably by Tuesday. I was hoping to finish everything this weekend, but it's just so much material to get through, and I don't want to rush through it too fast. So I'm going to, I'm going to wait, and then once I finish, I'm gonna plan to take the test next Monday, and then I'll have 1 more class after that. So almost done. But yeah, thanks for following along so far. And if you subscribe, thank you for subscribing. Yeah, so see you next week.